In this video, I'm going to be covering the best diet for men to lose weight. And by the end of the video, you should have a really good, solid understanding of how to go out and actually apply this so that you can use this diet to start losing weight as soon as today. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Joey Yochheim. I'm the co-owner of defaultkings.com. We are a Christian fitness coaching company that since 2019 has worked with over 600 men and helped them lose anywhere from 10 to 188 pounds. So I like to make content because it's very helpful for you guys. And there's a lot of people that are overweight or obese. Right now in America, it's around 75% of the population. So I figured that this is a useful contribution to society. That's why I do it. Now, let's actually get into the content of the video. So the best diet is none of them. They all suck. Surprise. That's the opening of the video. Keto, fasting or intermittent fasting, carnivore, vegan, vegetarian, plant-based, Weight Watchers, any of these trendy or like named diets, they all suck. And now I know in technical terms, diet just means what you're eating. But most people hear the word diet and they think of stuff like this. So you want to avoid these, okay? You want to avoid these. If it has a name, it's probably not a good diet to be doing. It's probably not very sustainable long term. Here is why they all suck, specifically the ones that I named. There's more, but I just wanted to list 5 to keep the video simple for you. Keto, you have no carbs. And if you were physiologically unaware, carbohydrates are your body's preferred source of energy. So you're literally just eliminating that, which on a long enough time horizon is probably not the smartest thing to do. Maybe short term it's fine, but long term it's probably not ideal at all in any capacity. Now, the next thing is fasting or intermittent fasting. The reason that it sucks is you're always hungry. That's it. It's that simple. Losing weight is hard enough as it is because you have to get into a calorie deficit, which naturally means you're eating less calories than your body needs. So the natural inclination already is to be hungry. But when you throw in an eating window where, say, you can only eat for 4 hours a day, the remaining 12 hours of the day where you're awake, you just make them more miserable. You literally just make it harder on yourself. That's why fasting sucks. Carnivore, the reason carnivore sucks, you can't function like a normal human. I want you to just try to go out to dinner with your friends or your family or your wife or your girlfriend, whatever it is. Go try to be a normal human and get to the restaurant and say, hey, sorry, I'm carnivore. Can you make sure that I don't have any of the stuff that carnivore diet people can't have? Can I just have my meat only? I don't want anything else. Go try to be a normal human being. And then also try to apply that on a long enough time horizon for yourself in the day-to-day. Do you really see yourself only having steak for the rest of your life? No, you don't. And that's why people do this and they fall off the wagon. Vegan, vegetarian, plant-based, you can kind of lump them all together. The biggest problem there, in my opinion, is low protein, not to mention the lack of nutrients that you're going to have because you're only eating plants. And it's not me saying plant-based food is not good. There's certain nutrients that you need in plant-based food that you can't get in animal-based products, but you need both, right? So carnivore, I can honestly add that in here for carnivore is like the fact that, hey, you're missing a ton of nutrients that you would otherwise get from plants by eliminating anything that's not animal-based. It's silly. On a long enough time horizon, it's going to impact you negatively when it comes to a nutrition perspective. Weight Watchers. This is the next most like common diet that I hear people using when they try to come work with my company. They're like, yeah, I did Weight Watchers. Okay. Here's the thing about Weight Watchers. Points are fake and they're made up by a company that's trying to get you to buy their stuff. And I'm not saying they have bad intentions. It's literally called Weight Watchers. The intention of the program is to help people lose weight. Right? But points are fake. Your body does not run on points. It runs on calories. It runs on macronutrients and micronutrients. It doesn't run on points. So even though the application tells you like this apple is 7 points or whatever it is, I don't even know what their system looks like anymore. It's not real. It's fake and it's made up. It's not actually how the body works from a physiological perspective. Okay. Now, this is what you should do instead if your goal is weight loss. And I know I shouldn't have to put this caveat if the title is literally the best diet for men to lose weight. But some people need this reminder that the context in which I'm telling you to do this is in one of weight loss. If your goal is to gain weight, you would do something different. So if you're trying to gain weight, I don't even know why you clicked on this video. But if you did, and you're watching it just because you like me and you think I'm funny and handsome, maybe, right? Don't do this, okay? This is for if your goal is weight loss, okay? Number one, find your basal metabolic rate. This is otherwise known as your BMR. You can use this with, or find this with any online calculator. I have a bunch of videos on my account where I find BMR for you, okay? Then what you do is you make your BMR your calorie limit and you never go over it. In some of my other videos, maybe you've heard me say like you could use total daily energy expenditure and subtract a specific number for the timeline in which you want to lose the weight once you determine what your calorie deficit should be. But in general, I like to just go straight to BMR because you can't get it wrong. I mean, you could if you self-report improperly on the calorie calculators, but chances are if you eat what it says your BMR is, it'd be really hard for you to not be in a deficit. So I'd rather just err on the side of caution and account for human error because I know most people are going to mess it up and that's okay. I'm not shaming you for messing it up. It's just reality. You don't know how to do it. You haven't done it as long as I have. And that's fine. So just make BMR your calorie limit and never go over it because it gives you a safe buffer zone for making sure that you're actually in a calorie deficit. Okay. Now, once you have your BMR as your calorie limit and you're never going over it, the way you make sure you're never going over it is by tracking every single calorie. It's that simple. Everything. Don't overlook the small stuff. The most commonly overlooked things when people are tracking calories are beverages, so liquid calories, cooking oils that they're cooking meats or vegetables or things like that in. They think because they put it in a frying pan, you don't have to count it. It's not true. Yes, some of it cooks off, but you should account for it. And then also condiments, right? So anything that you're putting on sandwiches or salad dressings or anything like that, right? Any of those toppings, those all have calories in them. You need to account for all of them. So track every single one. Weigh yourself daily to ensure that you're making progress because you can troubleshoot. If you're weighing yourself every single day and you're eating at what you think is your BMR, if it's actually your BMR, you should be losing weight. There's no way you wouldn't. What that means is you either calculated your BMR wrong or you don't know how to track properly. So the scale will never lie. This you could get wrong. This you could get wrong. This you could get wrong. This will never be wrong. If you're losing weight, you're in a deficit. If you're not losing weight, you're not in a deficit and you need to fix something. Right? So weigh yourself daily to ensure that you're making progress. And then you just repeat this cycle over and over again until you're at your goal body weight. That's it. That's the diet, right? Nothing flashy. It's just numbers. Right? And if you want to optimize for sustainability, what I recommend is you eat a minimum of 0.8 grams of protein per 1 pound of your goal body weight daily. A lot of people like to say body weight. I say goal body weight, because it just tends to be more sustainable. And what I mean by that is if somebody gets to the point where they're 50 pounds overweight, chances are they've also been chronically under eating protein as well, because protein is very satiating and it helps build muscle mass. So if you're eating enough of it, you typically don't overeat your calories and you typically have more muscle mass than the average person. So it's harder for you to get fat. So if you've never done that and you're overweight, again, I can assume that you've probably been chronically under eating protein. And if I tell you eat 1 pound of your current body weight and you weigh 275 pounds, bro, that's a tall mountain to climb in general, but especially if you're somebody that weighs 275 pounds because you've never done it. And that's just a lot of protein that you just don't need that much. So I say 0.8 grams per pound of your goal body weight. If you're trying to be 200 pounds, you do 200 times 0.8, works out to about 160 grams a day. Okay, that's how you do the math on this. Do not try to do this calories or calorie limit of your BMR. Do not try to do it with 100% clean foods. Like, do not. I'm not saying maybe don't. No, don't. Don't try to make it 100% clean. Right? Budget 20% of your calories for fun stuff. So if your limit is 2,000 calories, make sure you get 400 of those calories from things that you enjoy. Like literally whatever it is. It could be ice cream. It could be pizza. It could be whatever you want. Make 20% of your calories come from fun food because that makes it sustainable long-term, where you're not depriving yourself of the actual enjoyment side of food. And you get to actually still go out to eat and have a beer if you want and have a good time and you can be a normal human being. Okay. Makes it a lot more sustainable long-term. Now, make sure that you are pairing these things with also building muscle via resistance training. Lift weights, do calisthenics, get kettlebells, do resistance bands, do push-ups, whatever. Anything that's a form of resistance training. That way you can actually build muscle which will in turn lead to you burning more calories at rest than you would if you were only comprised of fat. So it helps with the sustainability factor, because once you get the weight off, you actually keep it off because you're just burning more calories than you were when you were overweight. Okay. Lastly, pick up some sort of active hobby to burn extra calories without thinking about it. And I define active hobby as literally anything that gets you on your feet that you don't feel like is work, right? It shouldn't feel like a workout. Even if you get a good workout from it, it shouldn't feel like this chore that you have to do. Something like pickleball or pickup basketball or I don't know, whatever, men's softball league, golf, whatever it is that you like to do, right? Combat sports, whatever it is, right? Find something, do it, burn extra calories for fun. Okay. So all this boils down to is you playing the game of staying under your proper calorie limit while also staying above your proper protein minimum. So your calories are like the ceiling, the protein is like the floor. And if you have 2,000 calories available a day and you're trying to get to 160 grams of protein a day, you're just trying to surpass 160 grams of protein without surpassing 2,000 calories. You're trying to stay in this range. If you get to 160 grams of protein and you still have some calories left over and you want to fill in with some fun stuff, do it. Just make sure that your total calories stays under 2,000. Right? Where that gets dicey is people are like, man, I have 400 calories left. I'm going to go get ice cream. And then they end up eating 800 calories of ice cream instead of 400. And they blow through their ceiling on calories. Okay. So the game you're playing is minimum protein, maximum calories, stay in there. Right? That's the fun zone. And I say fun zone because losing weight is fun and we're no longer overweight. That's why it's the fun zone. Okay. If you do this correctly, it's impossible for you to stay or ever become overweight. That's it. Eat the right amount of calories, eat the right amount of protein. That's it. Now, here are your objections to this. Calorie tracking isn't fun, Joey. Yeah, it's not that fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not fun. But neither is being overweight or obese. So you pick. And if you're watching this, if you clicked on this video, you are probably overweight or obese. And what you've done up to this point has not worked. So it might not be the fun option, but it's the option that guarantees success. And so again, it might not be fun, but neither is being overweight or obese. Also, you don't have to do it forever. Once you get to weight maintenance, you can kind of chill out a little bit and you understand food at a level where you don't necessarily need to input it into a software. I don't really track calories when I'm maintaining, right? I don't. I have a general idea of what my calorie intake is. I weigh myself every day. As long as I stay within my goal range of weight, that 5-pound range that is goal body weight for me, as long as I stay in there, I'm not tracking. If I go over it, I'll track for a day or two to get back in control. But you don't have to track forever. It just eventually becomes a tool in your tool belt. Isn't only eating your basal metabolic rate of calories aggressive? Yeah, it is aggressive. But you need to get wins early or you will fall off the wagon. If you just set out to lose weight and you lose like a pound a month, you're going to get discouraged. And this is what happens a lot of times for people is they hire a coach or something like that and they've only lost a pound or two and it's been 3 months. And so they just quit. So I would rather err on the side of being aggressive to make sure that you actually lose 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pounds in your first month and you're bought in psychologically and emotionally and you actually start to change your behavior everywhere. So you need to get wins early. So yeah, go aggressive. Use momentum, motivation, and psychology to your advantage. Isn't only eating BMR dangerous? On a long enough time horizon, if you didn't have 10 to 50 pounds or more to lose, yeah, it could be dangerous to only eat BMR. Eventually, you just wither away. But neither of these factors that make it dangerous apply to you. They don't. Because you're not going to do it forever. So it's not that long of a time horizon. You're just going to do it till you're a healthy body weight. And you don't not have 10 to 50 pounds or more to lose. If you're watching this video, chances are. More of your objections to this. High protein diet is bad for your kidneys. Maybe you've heard this. Okay. This is like a super frustrating one for me. It's not. It's not. Okay. Every study that's ever attributed high protein intake to kidney damage has misattributed. If you really read into it, all they concluded was that there was an increase in renal activity, which just means like your kidney activity, when somebody implemented a high protein diet. But just because the renal activity increased does not mean that that is bad. Additionally, what happens in most of those studies is after a certain amount of time, the renal activity drops back to normal baseline, even if high protein intake stays there. Why? Because your body adapts to the stimulus that you place on it. Okay. The same thing happens when you introduce a high carbohydrate diet to somebody. Their liver activity goes up. Right? The chemicals in the liver that are processing it goes up. But eventually it baselines out because your body adapts to it. So just because the increase in renal activity happens does not mean that is a bad thing. Now, if you're somebody that has chronic kidney disease or you've had a kidney removed already, yeah, maybe we need to pay a little bit more attention to the kidneys when we're doing a high protein diet. But one, that's a rare case. Two, all that requires is us just getting some regular blood work while you're doing a high protein diet. I would still have you do high protein. We would just need to monitor it more. And additionally, anytime kidney damage has actually occurred in a clinical setting, it's occurred in extreme cases of protein intake. I'm talking like more than 2 grams per pound of body weight. And it's also coupled with dehydration. So I'm not telling you to go to the extremes of protein intake. And also you should make sure that you actually have proper hydration alongside of it, right? Make sure you're getting your water in. Have a gallon a day. That's a good metric. If you're having a gallon a day, you're not going to have kidney problems. Okay. Now, additional objection that you may have. Joey, weightlifting is dangerous. If you do it wrong, sure. But I could actually argue that being weak and having atrophying muscles, which just means muscles that are getting smaller because as you're getting older, they're getting smaller naturally, is a far greater risk to your health. So if you're worried about your form, just get a coach. Find somebody to teach you how to do it properly. Okay. Now, here's why you should listen to me. Okay. I've done this for 600 plus men at this point, and they've lost anywhere from 10 to 188 pounds. If you don't believe me, that's fine. I didn't ask you to. I don't need you to. But you can go look for yourself at defaultkings.com. Bunch of transformations, case studies, reviews, interviews with clients, people that have used this exact same thing that I have taught you how to use in this video. So it works, right? Outside of just me being qualified to talk about this, the other part is just straight out of the word. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Wherefore, by their fruits, ye shall know them. And I put this here, and I use this a lot, because if you find yourself in a situation where your fruits are being 10 to 50 pounds overweight, brother, that's a tree problem. And the tree is you. So whatever you're doing up to this point, you are bearing bad fruit, and that's a reflection of the tree. So the system you've used up to this point isn't working, right? And you might argue, well, it worked for a little bit, but I fell off the wagon. That literally means it didn't work. Unless your goal was to lose the weight and gain it back, which I know that's not your goal. That would be silly. That'd be pointless. That'd be like saying, I want to be a millionaire and then blow it all. Okay, that's dumb. You want to be a millionaire and then go back into debt? That's stupid, right? So whatever you've done up to this point has not worked because it has not stuck. And the goal is to actually produce behavior change your default actions. That way you can not only lose weight, but actually keep it off long-term and become a person whose lifestyle aligns with that of somebody who is at a healthy body weight, at a healthy body composition, and all of the benefits that come with that. Okay. Now, if you want my help directly and not just in a YouTube video, book a free fat loss assessment with me / my team, whoever's calendar you end up on. It could be mine. It could be somebody else's, using the link in the description. Or you go to defaultkings.com, and while you're there, you book a free fat loss assessment through the link that we have there. And what we will be talking about on this assessment is how you can lose your next 10 to 50 pounds or more, or you don't pay. Literally, if you go through the service and you absolutely hate it and you think it didn't work for you, you're eligible for 100% refund at the end of it. Now, the only time we haven't honored that is if somebody goes through the program and ghosts us the whole time and does nothing that we say. I can guarantee you won't get a refund if you go through and don't do anything we say. And I can guarantee you it won't work, right? That would be stupid. So if that's your intention, please don't waste my time. I don't need your money. I don't want your money, right? I'd rather you go spend it elsewhere with somebody that's, okay with you wasting their time. Okay. So that's how it works. If you want our help, go book a free fat loss assessment somewhere on the website, link in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, do all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, send it to somebody that needs it, and hopefully we can end this obesity pandemic.